When founders start a business together, there's usually a lot of excitement. Everyone is committed and everyone believes they're in it for the long haul. And because of that optimism, many startups make critical mistakes in relation to the ownership of shares in the company. For example, a common mistake is dividing the shares equally on day one. But what happens if one founder leaves after 6 months? What happens if one founder stops contributing while everyone else continues building the business? Should that founder still own a large percentage of the company? For many startups, not thinking about issues like this is where problems begin, and that's exactly why vesting agreements exist. A vesting agreement is designed to ensure that the equity a founder retains reflects the founder's contribution to the business. In simple terms, vesting means that ownership of shares is earned over time rather than being granted outright on day one, and this can be achieved in a number of ways. A share being vested means that the founder has secured the right to keep that share. Often founders' shares only become vested over an agreed period, and sometimes this is also tied to the founder meeting targets or producing key deliverables in accordance with a business plan. The aim is to ensure that ownership between founders remains aligned with the people who are actively helping to build the company in the ways they agreed. Without a vesting arrangement, a founder who leaves shortly after incorporation could still retain a significant ownership stake. That can create problems when raising investment. It can affect future decision-making, and it can be incredibly frustrating for the founders who continue putting in the work. Investors often refer to departed founders who still have a significant shareholding as dead equity, and it's a scenario to be avoided. Dead equity is shares sitting with someone who is no longer contributing to the growth of the company, and often did not contribute to the extent that they had agreed with the other founders. A well-structured vesting agreement helps prevent and remedy this situation. There are two main types of vesting arrangements, and it's important to understand the difference. The first is a traditional vesting arrangement. Under this approach, shares are earned gradually over an agreed period. Rather than receiving all of their equity on day one, a founder acquires ownership over time as they continue contributing to the business. The second is known as reverse vesting. With reverse vesting, founders receive all of their shares at the outset. However, some or all of those shares can be subject to forfeiture if a founder leaves in certain circumstances. This could mean leaving before the agreed vesting period has expired, but the triggers are usually more complex. In practice, reverse vesting is often the preferred approach for startup founders who are individuals who are tax resident in the UK. In reverse vesting, the founders appear on the company's cap table as shareholders from day one, which provides the certainty over ownership that investors require. At the same time, the business remains protected if a founder leaves earlier than expected or does not contribute to the business as agreed. For example, imagine two founders each receive 50% of the shares when the company is formed. They agree that their shares will vest over a 4-year period. If one founder leaves after only 6 months, the other founder or the company may have the right to buy back most of their shares. If they leave after 2 years, they may keep the proportion that has vested, while the other founder or the company buys back the remainder. The result is a fairer outcome for everyone involved, and the price paid for the shares usually depends on whether the founder is a good leaver, bad leaver, or an intermediate leaver in accordance with the relevant agreement. The relevant agreement is usually a founder's agreement, shareholders' agreement, or vesting agreement of some kind. We take a closer look at these agreements in our next video. Usually good leavers are paid the fair value for their shares, and bad leavers either receive the nominal value of their shares or nothing at all, depending on the mechanism for forfeiting shares. This ensures the remaining founders are not left building the company for the benefit of a departed founder who still has a large shareholding, and future investors see a cleaner and more attractive ownership structure. Vesting and reverse vesting arrangements also help reduce founder disputes. One of the biggest causes of conflict within startups is differing levels of commitment, so it's important the team's expectations are clear from the outset. A vesting agreement can facilitate those expectations. Vesting arrangements can also be particularly valuable when one founder is contributing full-time, while another is contributing part-time, or where founders are bringing different levels of experience, investment, or expertise to the business. A properly structured vesting arrangement creates fairness and accountability from the beginning. Of course, every startup is different. The right vesting structure will depend on the founders, the business model, future fundraising plans, and the long-term objectives of the company. That's why it's important to get the legal documentation right from the beginning. Properly drafted vesting arrangements can protect the founders, protect the company, and create a stronger platform for growth. If you're starting a business with co-founders or reviewing your existing ownership structure, taking advice on vesting arrangements early can save significant problems later. The team at JPP Law regularly advises founders and growing businesses on vesting agreements, reverse vesting arrangements, and shareholder structures designed to support long-term success. Getting these foundations right today can make all the difference tomorrow. If you're starting a new venture, it's always worth getting legal advice early. This is why at JPP Law, we offer an initial complimentary consultation. We can guide you through the legal decisions you need to make and provide a fixed fee quote for any legal documents you may need. Thanks for listening. You will find links to the online booking system where you can arrange that complimentary legal consultation in the comments below. And don't forget, if you find this video useful, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the JPP Law Startup channel. We mentioned that vesting agreements can be formalized in articles, founders, or a shareholders agreement. In our next video, we explain each of these documents.